Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so we've literally never had more health information at our fingertips, right? Yet somehow we're all sitting here completely confused about what to actually put on our plates. Today, we're cutting straight through all that modern noise. We're going to zero in on the grounded, basic science of what our bodies actually need to thrive. You know, over 2,000 years ago, the ancient Roman poet Virgil nailed it when he said, "The greatest wealth is health." And man, is that a timeless truth. Health isn't just a nice to have, it's the absolute, non-negotiable foundation of a fulfilling life. Because think about it, when your health is compromised, it completely overrides everything else. Suddenly, all those other daily worries just kind of fade into the background. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the modern health paradox, move into diet confusion, break down the science of macronutrients, look at the dangers of overconsumption, explore the role of micronutrients, and finally, talk about building lifelong habits. Let's get into it. Section 1. The Modern Health Paradox. Progress, Longevity, and New Obstacles. Now, this is a really fascinating contradiction. Historically, our ancestors mostly struggled with infectious diseases and malnutrition. Simple, but deadly. Fast forward to today, and thanks to modern medical advancements like antibiotics and vaccines, we're living way longer. But here's the paradox, right? Our modern, convenience-driven society, with its ultra-processed meals and highly sedentary desk jobs, has basically swapped out those infectious diseases for a whole new set of chronic, lifestyle-related conditions. Think heart disease and diabetes. So yes, we're living much longer, but a lot of the time we're just managing ailments rather than actually thriving. Section 2. Diet confusion and food habits. Navigating the modern noise. So, who on earth are we supposed to believe? Honestly, it's exhausting. We are constantly bombarded. You've got social media influencers pushing these contradictory miracle diets, and even the so-called experts can't seem to agree on basics like eggs, cooking oils, or vegetarianism. One minute, a high-protein diet is the ultimate goal, and the next, it's flagged as a massive hazard. And to make it even murkier, so many studies are funded by corporate lobbying groups with serious vested interests. It is incredibly easy to feel totally overwhelmed when ordinary people are out there disguising themselves as experts just to chase clicks, shares, and profits. Section 3. The Science of Macronutrients, Fueling the Body. This brings us back to the basics. Macronutrients are essentially the heavy lifters of our diet. Think of them as the bricks and mortar of the human body. As the name suggests, you need them in large macro amounts. We're talking about proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids, which is just the scientific term for fats. Each of these plays a uniquely powerful role, doing everything from providing basic energy to building up our cell structures and keeping our metabolism humming along. Let's break that down a bit further. Both carbs and proteins provide about 4 kilocalories per gram. Carbs are your body's fast energy source. They directly impact your blood glucose. Proteins, on the other hand, are supplying the amino acids needed to build and repair tissue. But then look at lipids. Lipids are incredibly energy dense, giving us 9 kilocalories per gram. That's literally more than double the calories of carbs or protein. And despite the bad rap fats sometimes get, they're absolutely vital for things like hormone production and maintaining our cell structure. And here's where we can bust a lot of those common diet myths. First off, carbohydrates are not technically essential in the strict biological sense because our bodies can actually produce glucose internally. But plant-based carbs are crucial because they provide the fiber we need for gut health. Second, you know that famous protein recommendation of 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight? Keep in mind that's just a minimal baseline to prevent deficiency. It's not some optimal ceiling. And finally, please don't fear fats. We absolutely require dietary lipids to get those essential fatty acids, like omega-3s and omega-6s, that our bodies just cannot manufacture on their own. Moving on to Section 4, the dangers of overconsumption, the biological reality. Okay, so what happens when we overdo it? When we consume excess carbohydrates, our body follows a very strict biological sequence. Step 1. That extra glucose gets stored as glycogen in the liver for immediate energy needs. Step 2, it gets stored in your muscles for localized use. But here's the kicker. Once those primary storage tanks are totally full, the body takes whatever glucose is left over, converts it directly into fatty acids, and locks it away as body fat. It's a similar story with fats. When we consume too much dietary fat, it gets stored in our fat cells, known as adipocytes. But think of these cells like closets. They definitely have limits. When they literally run out of room, your body is forced to store that fat in what are called ectopic sites. That means fat starts accumulating around vital organs, like your heart and your liver, where it absolutely shouldn't be. And that is a primary trigger for some very severe metabolic diseases. And what about protein? A lot of fitness influencers make it sound like you can just eat unlimited protein with zero consequences. But that's simply not true. Excess protein doesn't just safely pass through your system. Your body either uses it for energy or stores it as fat. Plus, processing all that extra protein forces your kidneys into overdrive. If you're consistently consuming way more than you actually need, you can eventually put some really damaging stress on your kidneys, increasing the risk of kidney stones, especially if you aren't staying properly hydrated. Section 5. The role of micronutrients. Small amounts, massive impact. Now let's talk about the little guys. Micronutrients, our vitamins and minerals, are honestly a bit of a biological double-edged sword. On one hand, a deficiency in things like iron, iodine, or vitamin A will drastically impair your mental capacity, your energy, and your overall productivity. You need them. But more is definitely not always better. While excess water-soluble vitamins are pretty easily flushed out of your system, fat-soluble vitamins like A and D actually accumulate in your tissues. So blindly overconsuming these through heavy supplementation can seriously backfire, potentially causing severe liver or kidney toxicity and real organ damage. Finally, Section 6, building lifelong healthy habits, turning science into action. You know, the absolute hardest step in all of this isn't actually learning the guidelines. It's breaking the silent, stubborn habits we've built over a lifetime. We all have the knowledge, right? Reduce sugar, watch your salt, hydrate properly. But the reality is often much darker. We frequently reward our kids with sugary treats, basically cementing those unhealthy cravings for life. We lean on highly processed, oversalted snacks simply because they hijack our taste receptors. And we routinely eat massive meals right before lying down to go to sleep. Translating all this science into action means we really have to confront those daily ingrained realities. So, what's the path forward? To truly thrive, we've got to build balanced habits early, ideally starting right in childhood. We need to learn from the health mistakes of others, rather than waiting for a midlife wake-up call, like a diabetes or hypertension diagnosis, to force a change. Rely on qualified medical professionals and registered dietitians, not whatever social media influencer happens to pop up on your feed today. And when in doubt, always err on the side of safety by sticking to a balanced, varied, whole food diet. At the end of the day, balance truly is the key. Life is just way too short to learn every single lesson from your own health mistakes. Taking charge of your health starts with a single, intentional step. So looking at your own daily routine, what's one food habit you are going to reevaluate today? Thank you so much for joining us. You can find our references at infojunction.wordpress.com. This has been an InfoJunction presentation.